My goal in organizing this show was to showcase the beauty, diversity, and the execution of Anishinaabe art, to showcase this region, because I could remember when I would show my work here in Michigan too, people would say, "Oh, that's so beautiful. You from the Southwest?" And so it was always Native American art was Southwest art. "Oh, you from Santa Fe?" It's like, well, no, I know people in Santa Fe, but I'm from here. I'm Anishinaabe, and this is my work. I'm from this region. Another reason for this show was I felt contemporary Anishinaabe art didn't have much representation in West Michigan area, especially in art museums. We're in tribal museums, of course, and natural history museums, but not our contemporary work of what we're doing today. It was kind of the past. And so with like this exhibit, it's about we're still here. We're still telling our story. We survived. We'll still keep going. We'll still be here. Well, first off was my consideration was their tribal affiliation, the region, this whole region, Anishinaabe art, of course. The quality of their work. Each and every artist in this exhibition is at the top of their game. You know, they're producing top-notch, beautiful works that represent us in a good way. But I went by the diversity of materials, with the traditional materials from the birch bark that come from the trees to like Wally Dion has a traditional imagery, but he uses computer parts. We have jewelry, different types of sculpture, bronze and stone, photography, video. A lot of them, they're working on diverse materials, and they're also challenging the norms of what people think our work is supposed to look like. Well, I knew a lot of these artists just through the years, because we all been working and selling and trying to make it. And so I knew a lot of them from the shows that we would go to. Some of them I had admired, like for one, Shirley Brocker. I could remember when I was a young guy just starting and seeing her work, thinking, wow. Adam Avery, he comes from a family of traditional artists. So I could remember them always dancing at the powwows, making their own regalia, doing the beadwork. And I know Adam, he's also making canoes and all kinds of, just keeping that tradition alive. And then he's taking it to the next level with these hats and his beadwork. Jason Quigno, he's just a brother from another mother. I really like what he's doing, how he's taken those traditional values and messages and he's bringing them forth in a different imagery. Instead of us keeping in a box and what people think we should be doing, he's stepping out and he's bringing it to the next level. Robin Waney, she's from my tribe, and I had to showcase her. She does exquisite jewelry, and Especially in Michigan here, there isn't really too many Anishinaabe jewelers out there. And then Kelly Church, she was another one. Her family was always doing the black ash baskets. She's taken that form to the next level once again. Also, she's educating on what's going on with the black ash trees and the emerald ash borer. So she goes out a lot and educates the public on how they're decimating the trees. The trees are starting to die and are going away. So she's documenting and educating with the work she's doing now. How I started, it was there was a class where I grew up on the Saginaw Chippewa Reservation, and the education director at the time thought it'd be a good idea to bring a stone sculpture class to the community for the youth. And I had two mentors. One, he learned from at the American Indian Institute for the Arts. He learned stone sculpture out there and he made a name for himself, and then he brought it back to his community and he brought it to the youth. So I learned from him, Dennis Christie, and then one of his apprentices, Dan Mena, was also my teacher. So through both of these men, they taught me the basics, and then it just kind of evolved from there. I didn't even expect this to be a career. It was just something I did, and then here I am today. So some of my works are real contemporary, like the piece behind me. And that came about, I was at a show and I was kind of doing this free form stuff. And I would get people saying, "Oh, well, that ain't Native American work. What are you doing here with that type of work?" And I'd say, "It is Native American work. I'm Native American. I made it." And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep going on this route, because what was we supposed to stay in this little box, which was Native work, you know? And the story behind them is based on my culture. So some of them forms are kind of Mobius forms, and they're all about harmony and balance. With the people, we live in harmony and balance with our surrounding. And so I was just commenting on that and bringing it out in a different way. And then some of it, I do real traditional forms, like some of the eagles, and I'll put the 7 grandfather teachings, the floral work. It all depends on how I'm feeling, what I produce. Some of the works that I see in this show that make a comment on what we're going through now, Native peoples, is like with Kelly Church, with her hat, the Water is Life hat. The Water is Life is a movement that happened from the Standing Rock. They had a protest out in Standing Rock because they're trying to put an oil pipeline over a river, which was the tribe's only water source. And so they were going to move it. They moved it from north of Bismarck because the people didn't want it, because they're worried what happened if it ruptured. It would wreck their water supply. But they had no problem moving it to the Native Americans above their water supply. And so all the people came together and they fought against it. And so a lot of people have been taking that and they've been putting it in their work, and they're still commenting on that struggle and what we have to go through for basic rights. Shirley Brocker, she's another one who, I think it's some pieces at GVSU, talks about murdered and missing Indigenous women, and she comments on that. And then some of my work on the series I've done talks about the resilience of our Indigenous women. I call them the Strong Women series. They're the culture bearers, our mothers. They kept the home in line. They're our leaders. And some of them were monumental. And I made these women with the blowing hair and the flowing robes, and they represented strength and resilience, because those stones will be here for thousands of years. Yeah, I feel it's important for contemporary Native art and artists to talk about them issues, because that's what we're going through today. You know, it's really not said in the news, it's not really brought up in media. But in Indian country, we know about it, we hear about it, our communities are tight. And even from afar, you know, we all hear. And so with the artwork, it's honoring them and also telling their story and bringing that issue forth. The biggest thing I'd like them to take away from it is that we're still here, that we're Anishinaabe, we're right here in this region. We come from this area, and we have our own stories. We tell them with all of these different materials and mediums. And I just hope viewers walk away with a sense of knowing more of who we are and what we do and what we've gone through, and viewing this work.